Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
That's right, for commercial and residential roofing. Project manager on every site, at every job. It is Easton Roofing. 4 straight years voted Best of Houses and Angie's Super Service Award winner as well. You can check out their incredible reviews online at Google. And, of course, if a storm blows in, we might be having some ice storms coming up with the snow and everything that's in the forecast. Free storm damage inspections. That'll save you money in the future. You do not want erroneous insurance claims on your record. And Easton, make sure you don't. A lot of fly-by-night roofing companies will get you to try to turn in an insurance claim, which can be bad news for you moving forward. Easton will be happy to get up and take a look at your roof and tell you whether or not you do or do not need repairs. Happy to do repairs. That's something a lot of other roofing companies won't. Customer service focus, that's Easton Roofing. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards and PayPal accepted. You can call the guys at 913-257-5426. I saw one of the trucks on my drive over here today. Online, eastonroofing.com. That's eastonroofing.com, where you heard it. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Danny Clinkscale with us here at CBD American Shaman. We're at 15165 West 119th Street. That's basically the southwest corner of 119th and Black Bob at CBD American Shaman, where you can come down and sample the products. In fact, they're happy to let you sample the products at any CBD American Shaman. And while the program is on the air, you can save 30% on everything in all the stores in our entire listening area. Customers finding great relief from things like pain, inflammation, anxiety, depression, PTSD, even nausea, insomnia. Great line of pet products as well. It is the highest quality full-spectrum cannabidiol on the market. Don't be fooled by the imitators out there. CBD American Shaman employs 2 doctors right here on staff. It's third-party lab tested, grown, processed, and extracted here in the U.S. Like I said, come check out the free samples. 100% legal in Kansas and Missouri. You can find them online at www.buycbd.com. That's buycbd.com. And Danny is with us here at CBD American Shaman.
I got to go down to the plant the other day
Very
see
nice.
where the magic is made.
Yes.
Jamie was nice enough to take me around and meet the folks and talk to really nice people, and it was
all right here in Kansas City.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
They say you don't want to see the sausage made. I really wanted to see the
CBD made.
The CBD made. Yeah, it was cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Uh-huh.
All right, Danny. Trade deadline is come and gone.
Darn.
No hubbub.
No.
How stunned are you?
Not at all stunned. You asked Tim earlier what I hope I would have been fine to see the Chiefs get a linebacker capable of covering a running back.
Mm-hmm.
And these days in the NFL, you can get viable players. I mean, it used to be there was no trade market, period.
I think we have recently. I think whether it's everybody got moved already, but what was being talked about out there?
I don't know. I can't say that there was that player was out there, and I'm sure.
No, I didn't hear of any linebackers. I talked with some folks, and what they said was on the market, everything that's out there is salary dump.
Right.
And so that's why the only thing that really got done was Aqib Talib sent to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins got a better pick for taking him. The Rams basically paying to get rid of him. That was the only deal that happened today.
Well, don't the Dolphins have a linebacker who wants out?
Everybody wants out of Miami.
Well,
I
was
hear
clear on the touchdown last night. Maybe the most embarrassing moment in the history of the National Football League.
What point? Maybe I wasn't watching that close. I don't even remember.
Oh, you should see the replay of it. I don't know when it was when they were. It was 3rd and 20 something, and they sent it was like 3rd and 24 or something. I wasn't really watching. I saw the highlight this
Oh,
morning.
you're talking about on the touchdown at the end of the first half?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they sent the house, which, first of all, why do you do that? Nobody does that when it's 3rd and 24. And then there was just nobody there, and then they're jogging half speed to chase him down. I mean, it was bad. I mean, there's one thing, we always say that tanking doesn't take the form of guys not, playing hard. It's just who they put out there, like in the NBA. They just put out a substandard team. They're going to lose. The guys are kind of trying. Boy, these guys look like they're all in. I mean, like, they all look like, oh, boy, well, maybe I'll be here next year when Tua's here, and we need Tua. So, it's a bad look for the National Football League, that's for sure.
Well, think about
they're like, oh no, we're ahead 14-0.
Think about what's coming in Week 16, where the Bengals will play the Dolphins on Monday Night Football.
And the Bengals just benched Andy Dalton. They have a bye this week, but
on his birthday, happy birthday, Andy Dalton!
And
I actually think
here's
it is
a red rifle
present
for your birthday.
I think it is a good birthday present because he doesn't have to endure being out there with that god-awful team.
Right, and I think he's still certainly got a viable future as at least a quality backup in the league, for a few years. If he cares to do that, I don't know. So we'll see. Not a good look for the National Football League, though. But the Chiefs, if they get to health, they still have a team that, they'd have to really screw up to not make the postseason, even if they lose this week again. And I heard you talking yesterday about Carl Peterson used to refer to the playoffs as a tournament, which was absolutely absurd.
Right.
I mean, it's maybe more of a tournament these days than it was.
Oh, it is. It is if you got a quarterback.
Than it was back in his day, but in his day it was just silly. I mean, it was like, no, you don't just. It's not just if you make it, you got a fighting chance. You got to have a team that's quality and capable of winning a championship, which the Chiefs didn't at that point in time. But it was a nice thing to say.
Yeah, he seemed to like it.
He did.
He liked to run it out there. I think this is just a year there wasn't much out there, and I don't think it's a bad year for there to be not much out there because I don't think the Chiefs had much to give.
That's true. They've and for seemingly good reasons. We'll see on that Frank Clark one, but they have used draft capital certainly extensively. So you want to have got to have some cheap players on the team, and that's you get them through the draft now. And the Chiefs continually have not gone in that direction. They've traded up a lot. They've traded for players using draft choices. So yeah, it probably was a blessing in disguise, even if they were trying to do it, which we don't know, and we'll likely never know.
Yeah, I listen. I don't think that. I think they would be listening, but I don't think there was anything they were proactively out trying to get.
No, I think they probably feel like if you're the Chiefs and you watched your team play the first 4 games relatively healthy, you would think, well, that's really our team. And barring the fact that some of those,
I hope the defensive improvement over the last couple of weeks. You're thinking we're better than that.
I'm going to give. I think the bar has been set so low, and the grading curve is so good that it's a delight to be a Chiefs defensive player. They went out the other night. Now the Packers are good, okay? They're not great, but they're good, and they had some injuries. But the Chiefs defense gave up a 300-yard passer, gave a running back 200-plus yards of total offense, gave up 31 points, and couldn't get the other team off the field in the last 6 minutes, and everybody was throwing, bravo! Good work! I'm like, really? I mean, it was, yes, pressure on the quarterback has been dialed up. That looks good. But they're doing it at the sacrifice of leaving guys, if somebody breaks through the line on a 5 or 6 or 7 yard play, they're a quality bet to go the distance.
So you are saying that the 30 minutes and 38 seconds that they kept the Packers off the scoreboard.
That's nice.
In the middle of the game.
It's nice, but they also got their team in a 14-0 hole pronto. I mean, you just can't look past it.
No, you can't, but they adjusted and came around. And then you like for me, what I saw was a team that ran out of gas and ran out of bullets. And they needed an offense to go shoot back. And that went away.
That's true. But I don't think you could go into the game and think that if you got 24 points out of Matt Moore and company, that that wasn't pretty good.
I agree. But I don't think you could have gone in this game and think you were going to win either.
I don't think so either. I think
so.
I think the grand
ridiculing.
I'm not ridiculing them. In the grand arc of the game was a positive for the Chiefs. They did quite a few things well, but the things that they didn't do well are things that are still going to stay with them. The biggest concern right now defensively is the complete inability to cover backs and tight ends in the middle of the field,
which they haven't been able to do for 3 years.
And I don't think they're going to. And that doesn't. There's nobody coming back there. There's no injury that's affecting that.
Well,
now you could say that
pressure
if they
will
get some
affect
pressure,
that.
right? But those are short, quick throws generally.
Well, not the back of the end zone after scrambling around for 5 minutes. And not the one of the not wheel routes around the side. Listen, I'm not here to tell you that the Chiefs defense it's Pats, Niners, Chiefs. No, that's not what I'm here to tell you. But I do think if when you watch the game and you go through it, yes, they were lit up to start. Then they answered the bell, and I've never seen Aaron Rodgers hold the ball for 8.5 seconds and then take a sack. I've never seen it. He seemed to be somewhat perplexed. Curtis said, well, maybe he underestimated how quick Tano Passanio is. I don't know. I've just never seen that. I mean, he's smart enough to throw the ball away, and he didn't do it.
I agree.
So I don't know what the hell was going on.
That or he was like, these secondary guys aren't that good. I'll just wait around. Somebody's going to come open.
Right. And he does like to hold the ball. The Chiefs talked about it all week, that he'll hold the ball and give his team every chance to make an opportunity. And so when you hold him scoreless for 30-plus minutes, that's real. And, the problem was the Chiefs, in my opinion, had to settle for a field goal. And then really the killer was the fumble. I mean, I don't think they were going to win this game if he doesn't fumble. I don't think they were going to win this game just by going for it on 4th and 3. But if he doesn't fumble and they go for it, I think they've got a shot. And with the personnel that they're down, and the Packers were down Devontae Adams, that's kind of really it on the list of what matters for the Packers. Being down your top 2 pass rushers, your number 1 corner, your left tackle, your left guard, losing your right guard in game, I think that's actually a significant accomplishment. Oh, and by the way, I forgot the most important part. You're on your 3rd-string quarterback who didn't even go to St. Joseph, Missouri. That's as good as it gets. They needed, we talked about it in pregame. I think you got to look in the mirror, and this is why I think Andy Reid made a very bad mistake, and Tim's going to break it down tomorrow on Crunch Time, Prime Time, his thoughts on it at 6 o'clock tomorrow on Wednesday, so I'll be encouraged as I'm driving home to listen to that. But that to me is, when I sat with Mark Boerichter and Curtis doing the pregame, we talked about, I said, look, they're going to need a defensive score or special teams. And I'd have settled for a return to the 5 or 10 or something like that. Point-blank range, and they have to win the turnover battle. They didn't do either. And it was really just from the dumbassness of its running back.
Yes, I heard your rant.
That they turned it over. So I think from a coaching and everybody else, and the one thing I forgot to ask Tim, that if you're listening, Tim, I would love to hear your thoughts, is what are his teammates saying? Everybody, my mom, now she's a big-time Chiefs fan, going back to their first day coming to Kansas City. So maybe that's not even fair. Casual fans, she's more than a casual fan. Casual fans, no, you don't carry the ball the way he's carrying the ball. And so I'm curious how the team is reacting to that. He cost them. They were in that game trading blows in the middle of the ring. They were a 4-1 dog. I still think that they were probably not going to get there.
Right, you would think that if they
had a hell of a lot better chance if he didn't do that.
That if Aaron Rodgers, if they had tied it up, say, or whatever, that you probably figured that Aaron Rodgers has got something left, especially because you think the defense is worn out. But still, it was impactful. There's no question about that. I mean, and I don't know sometimes how players bond and feel and stick up for their, mate. And maybe they see him in practice, and he's got gigantic mitts, and they're like, yeah, I can understand why he holds the ball that way.
Yeah. And then they're dumb too.
I'm not disagreeing.
Well, then
he is by the numbers a fumbler. He's averaged 4 fumbles a year in his career. That's a pretty high count in the NFL. And you mentioned the list earlier of 19th over the last 3 years, and out of the 28 qualifiers. So that's part of the package. Now, I don't think you're probably going to have much success getting an 11-year veteran to change the way he carries the football, and Andy Reid doesn't seem to be the type of coach who would try to do that. I think he knew that this is what LaShawn McCoy is. Andy Reid's very much a player's coach, I think. And I'd be surprised if he comes out high and tight in the next game.
You said if you're on the Chiefs defense, it's great because the bar is so low. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Listen, they're not world beaters right now, but they are. I'm seeing signs of progress. I'm hoping there's more progress. That's my excitement.
I see some signs of progress, too, particularly with putting pressure on the quarterback. Although and this is real. I think it's schematic as much as players.
But have you seen one schematic sack? Last year they led the league in sacks twofold. One, because they couldn't get anyone's ass off the field. And two, they had Chris Jones, and they had Justin Houston, and they had Dee Ford. They had 3 legitimate NFL pass rushers, but there was never anything schematically. They just went out and physically beat somebody.
Right.
And there were 3 of them, which made it harder to shade your protection anywhere. So that's what they did. I mean, long overdue we've been for a schematic sack. When was the last time you saw one?
Yeah, Bob Sutton was known as an aggressive
never
defensive play caller. But as time went on, and he would blitz a little bit early in his tenure, but as time went on, he seemed to really get away from it and really become a more conservative umbrella type of coach. So, yes, it is overdue, especially if you're not getting to the court. I mean, if you're getting some pressure out of your guys, if Frank Clark is beating his man early in the season, then you don't want to – hey, in a perfect world, you don't want to do it. I mean, the 49ers right now are getting great pressure on the quarterback.
And the Dungy Bucks never had to send anybody.
Rarely sending anybody.
Yeah, the Niners, their front 4 is enough. It's kind of what the Chiefs was, with better back behind them.
Right.
Right? So when they don't get there, they can still cover. Look, but you know who else I don't think is getting it near as much as they need? LaShawn McCoy. I know I lost it. You said you heard me. Yeah. I don't think lost it's fair. Whatever. I shouted, got animated, whatever you want to call it. Maybe that's losing it.
No, it was a rant.
Who else is? Who else in this city is?
I think there's far more venom about the punting than there was about LaShawn.
Where was on the front page of the Star Sam like McCoy sucks? Where's Vahe?
Blair Kirchhoff did give the rushing attack an F, and he says if you fumble the ball, you fail the course.
Okay. All right. So me and Blair, I'll give Blair a hug on Thursday.
There you go.
So me and Blair, but I literally don't think you had to play a perfect game. You knew that going in. If I knew that, sitting there talking with Mark Barber, or near perfect game, right? We knew you were going to have to steal
a lot
something.
Of things, right?
Right. Then they had to know it. Andy Reid had to know it. And maybe this is the failure of Andy Reid, is that he did not instill that knowledge in the team. So LaShawn McCoy still thinks it's showtime. I'm going to run with the ball in my hand. Here, palm it out here. I mean, that's just dumb.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It's dumb football. And Dee Ford lining up off sides, he called it sloppy football. Fine. Sloppy, dumb, use whatever. It was. They persist to do that. So listen, I'm a big Andy Reid fan. I'm not trying to get Andy Reid fired. I do think it's amazing that that's the go-to card that everybody wants. But then their reason for getting upset is because he punted on 4th and 3, which is a defendable position in what he did. They want to get mad about the timeout that he took when, in a lot of ways, it forced them to be one-dimensional and run the ball only. So theoretically, a run defense should be an easy stop for you. There's defendable things like that. There is no defense whatsoever, and maybe that's what I'm missing. It's people's want to debate and piss and moan back and forth with people.
And the thing is,
the biggest mistake and problem in that game was LaShawn McCoy fumbling the ball, and I think an example should be made.
But we got an indication of how Andy Reid operates, and the fact that you're not ripping your player if you just say, we can't make plays like that against a quality team like the Packers.
I agree.
Or something like that. He's not a fumbler. I don't go to that response. First of all, a lot of times people in the world of sports sit in front of groups of people, which basically is their fans by rote, and says things and expects that they're all idiots listening, I mean, all you got to do is look something up. Does he not think there's an internet or something? I mean, if he says he's not a fumbler, you can just go check it. And I guess there's a lot of people. Maybe there's people out there. Coach Reed says he's not a fumbler. He's not a fumbler. I don't think that's generally what people do down at the bar anymore. Well, didn't you hear Coach Reed? He says he's not a fumbler. Well, here on my phone, Bill.
Well, I will say
I'll buy you a beer if LaShawn McCoy is in the top half of this list.
Yeah, the work I'll say on this though, there are I'm sure a lot of guys who fumbled more who didn't get to 500 carries because they fumbled.
Right. Well, that's probably
so. That is part of it. But amongst guys who are at least good enough to continue to get the ball, he's in the bottom half.
Yeah,
that's
well
factual.
Into the bottom half.
Yeah, he's at 19 out of 28.
Right.
So he's almost in the bottom fourth.
And he's
definitely in the bottom third.
And that's just the last 3.5 years. Over the arc of his career, he's, like I said, averaged 4 fumbles a year. That's too high. It's too high. You probably should fumble no more than if you're going to be.
Well,
more than twice, maybe.
And that's not fumbles. You're talking about fumbles lost.
Fumbles lost, right?
Right. So there's probably twice as many fumbles.
Yeah, I'd say probably a little less. I think that the defense cover on a fumble by a running back. I bet the defense gets the ball more than the offense does.
At fumbling it once every 114 touches, if you were to figure 5 touches, I mean that's right at about 4 per.
Right.
So.
Yes, it is 4 per. Right.
Yeah, but that's fumbles lost. I'm saying that's what I think this is as well. I think there's actual fumbles. There's more of them that are on the ground. You just get about half of them.
Right. Yeah, it was just something for him to say so that people weren't saying, well, that's why we lost the game because LaShawn McCoy fumbled. But in many ways, that's why you lost the game because he fumbled.
It's tough
or at least it's a big reason why you didn't have a better opportunity to win the game. There's a million other things to talk about. I mean, not allowing the other team to have, when they had to get 2 first downs to not do it. And that was another reason why it's a little bit justifiable for Andy Reid to punt the ball because he knew that they didn't have to stop them, just on 3 downs. They could give up a first down, so he probably figured that as well. So.
We will take a break. Danny Klingskill is with us, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, with a project manager on every site for both commercial and residential roofing. It is Easton Roofing. Call them today at 913-257-5426. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. We're live at CBD American Shaman. You can come join us here today. We're at 119th and Black Bob on the southwest corner. Get some of the T-shirts. Got free T-shirts that are here, free samples for you to try. CBD American Shaman's great products, the highest full-spectrum cannabidiol on the market today. During the program, it's 30% off everything at all CBD American Shaman stores here in the listening area. It is 30% off on each and every product as you're getting off work. Come on by, grab yourself a CBD American Shaman, beautiful red, white, and gold T-shirt, and sample all the products and save 30% on any product at CBD American Shaman.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is Where Integrity Matters. Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Right, lay it on me.
Who were the coaches the last time KU and K-State met, each with a new head coach? This will be the fourth
Who
time.
are the coaches? Is that what you asked?
Yep. This will be the fourth time since '67 that they've played each other, each with a new head coach.
Each with a new head coach. Thank you.
Well, let's see. When Ron Prince came in, Mangino was entrenched. I think that was right in the middle of Mangino.
You got to be going back. I heard Lebo told me this one. It's way back.
Oh, well then.
It's way back. It's like.
Well, Snyder started in '89, right?
Yeah, it's pre-Snyder. It's like
it's not even Snyder. Okay.
Yeah, because Snyder holds down a lot of it. It was either Ron Prince.
I know, but I was just thinking, did KU have a new coach in 1989?
No,
It was year 2 of Glenn Mason. They just missed it.
Okay.
What size for you, Danny? Medium?
Medium, yes.
Yeah, there
Thank
you go.
you.
The
Thank
CBD
you.
American Shaman shirts are here. You can check them out. Danny's more of a medium. I'll be honest with you, very frail man. Really, if you can think frail. Do you have a size?
Strong as an ox. What are you talking about?
The 15 red, white, and yellow CBD American Shaman shirts, and of course 30% off all CBD American Shaman products at all CBD American Shaman locations. Hence, that's why we're here at 119th and Black Bob on the southwest corner. I don't. Lebo was telling me this, and for the life of me, I can't remember. Who is it? Bob Valicenti?
That's one of them.
Yeah, okay.
Bob Valicenti
Like I said,
against
Lebo told me. I'm cheating, so I can't remember.
against Stan Parrish in 1986.
Wow.
The only other two since 1975, Bud Moore against Ellis Rainsberger, and in 1967, Pepper Rogers against Vince Gibson.
When you recognize, one name for most people out there, maybe Pepper Rogers, I think would be the one that they might recognize. You understand why this is a rivalry that is not one of the greats when it comes to the football.
Yep.
But yeah, I'll play it for Good Sense. Go to goodsensesubs.com to put your order in right now. Pick it up on your way home. They'll have it all ready for you. You just walk in and get it. Don't forget to get signed up for the Loyalty Club. 10% off every order. 10% kicking it back right to you. There's not a better loyalty club anywhere. Get the Good Sense app or order online at goodsensesubs.com. And, of course, they're happy for you to come on in. You can watch them slice the meats and cheeses fresh right in front of you at Good Sense. Danny, well, let's talk about KU K-State.
All right, the
K-State
Sunflower
laying-
Showdown.
Yeah, of course. K-State laying 5.
That's about where I thought it would be. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure, oddly enough, on Kansas in this game and Kansas State. I think,
Really?
Yeah.
Why just Kansas?
Well, I think that
Or
there's
why more Kansas? It sounds like you're saying
Kansas.
more
I think Kansas. No, I think there's pressure on both teams, but I think Kansas to not. I think it'll be for once it would be a big disappointment if they get rolled. That's where the pressure lies for them. If they play a good football game and lose, I think it'll be fine. But if they lost by a couple touchdowns, I think there would be a feeling, I thought we were catching up to K-State. And for K-State, their fan base is so used to them kicking Kansas's ass all over the field that even last year was a little bit of a downbeat thing for them because, it kept seeming like the route was about to come and it never did.
Yeah.
And finally, Snyder just threw up his hands and said, let's get out of here with a win. And that was seen as a bit of a disappointment. So I think there's different kinds of pressure on each team.
Who wins?
I think K-State's going to win. I think they.
Who has the better quarterback?
I think Carter Stanley has more of a chance in any game to be electrifying. He throws a great deep ball, but he's not from down to down as consistent. He misses a lot of throws. Skylar Thompson runs a little hot and cold too, but I still would probably give the nod to Thompson.
Oh, okay.
Not
I wouldn't
definitively. I mean, I think it's a close call.
As of right now, I wouldn't spend a lot of time arguing, but if one of them has a great day and one of them has a bad day, that's going to be kind of a definitive statement. I agree with you.
Yes, I think it will. They're both in a place in their careers where if one of them significantly outplays the other in the game, you'd probably immediately switch to that quarterback as the one that was better. That's how close it is.
I think you gain a lot by getting a win the first time because now you never have to hear, well, he's never beat his rival. I mean, how much does Jim Harbaugh hate that? Every time. When he goes up against Ohio State, he's going to be a big dog at the end of the year. Maybe Ohio State falls to Penn State before then, and I'm certainly hoping because I've got the under 10. I'm not getting there. I'm just looking for the push
right.
with the Buckeyes. So, but that mounts, and you eliminate that right away.
Yeah.
That'll be really nice for whichever coach wins. They don't have to hear, well, you've never beaten your rival.
Yeah. I mean,
That goes away. So I do think that's there. But
I mean, look at what Barry Odom has to deal with now after last week. He's lost. If you're Missouri, you can't lose to Kentucky 5 times in a row. I mean, that type of thing. It's not their rival, but they don't really have a rival. So when you're measured
Arkansas, man, that's a heated.
Well, that's kind of Arkansas's fault. I mean, they've gone in the tank so bad that it isn't even like a good game. If you win, it's become a no-lose game for. I mean, a no-win game for Missouri. It's like, well, you're supposed to beat them. They stink,
right?
And it's late in the season, so if you drop it kind of hurts.
What would you say about Les Miles and what we're viewing him as? He was quirky, odd, weird. Has he gotten old? Is he senile? When he does that press conference, he still carries himself the same way, but now he's winning games. He's now more of a character, right?
Yeah, that's what happens to you. And when LSU is rolling, Ed Orgeron is just a motivational genius, and he's a more savvy football coach than we'll give him credit for, and he probably isn't. He's probably still the same guy, and I think Les kind of fits into that category. He's still odd. I mean, there's no question.
Ed Orgeron can find a quarterback and hire an offensive coordinator, and Les Miles couldn't until now.
Right.
Now the expectations are different. I'm not saying Carter Stanley would appease an LSU fan base that thought you were a national championship contender. But I will say this, that I do think that what was the biggest question about Les Miles, but can he figure out an offense, and can he find a quarterback? He took a guy on the staff. I mean, it makes me, he either got better or, geez, what the hell was going on at LSU? Or he got lucky, if you want to be a hater.
Well,
but
he may have had the good fortune of having this young guy on his staff and been able to see firsthand that he was a true whiz. Now, we'll see if he ends up being a true whiz, but the returns are awful good the first 2 games that he's had to call plays. But Kansas has been a home run hitting team the last couple of weeks, and I think what we'll see from them probably the rest of this year is that when the home run ball isn't hit, say, and Stan made this point on our podcast the other day, say they misses two deep balls out of 4 instead of hitting all 4 of them. That's his game. That's Carter Stanley's game. I mean, he's as likely, he throws a great deep ball, but if he's throwing a crossing pattern, he's as likely to wing it 5 feet over the guy's head as he is to hit him. So he's a mixed blessing, but you know what? He also doesn't care. He's got a lot of. I don't
think there's any mix about it. He's a blessing. He's just not perfect.
Right.
But he's significantly better than
he's a good player.
else.
That's what I'm saying is if he gets, there's no reason that you couldn't still hit the home runs and be a good singles hitter.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean that's supposed to be the easy part of it, and that's where he lies. But and he also has what's the Dolphins quarterback? Fitzmagic. He's got a lot of that in him.
Yeah.
I don't think he really gives a rip if he throws 4 picks. He's going to keep firing. And I think he's somebody who got to a point in his career is like, well, they never wanted to play me. What the hell? I'm going to go out there and have some fun. I think I can make some plays. I'm all right. And what's the downside? I get benched again, which I think is what Fitzmagic thinks also. He's made a bunch. He's thinking, I've made $25 million more than I ever thought I would make playing football. Woo! I'll hang in here and, be a backup, and then they'll have to turn to me because the team stinks. That guy strikes me as somebody who's going to be if he wants to do it, one incredible analyst.
No.
You don't think so?
I've interviewed him.
Really?
He's going to have to be real different.
Really? Because he seems to, have a gunslinger mentality, and clearly he's intelligent. He was just boring. Is that what you're saying?
He's from Harvard. He went to Harvard.
I know that.
I'm sorry, Danny. I apologize. Maybe someone at home didn't.
If anybody goes to Harvard, usually in football, it's so over-publicized. He went to Harvard.
He can beat. Now, maybe He's, I caught him when he was in like year 2 of that big Bills contract he got after he kind of broke through. And so, and he was at the American Century Championships in Tahoe. And sometimes guys are great there, and sometimes they're like, I'm here to play golf.
Right.
So maybe I got him on I'm here to play golf. And maybe he is better, but I wasn't wowed by what I got.
Yeah, because usually you have a good opportunity to get people to be pretty good at that because they don't have to do 15 interviews. They have to do 4.
And they're doing a competitive event that it doesn't matter how they finish. Almost all of them have no shot of winning.
Right.
There's like 5 guys.
Really
Travis
win.
Kelce was not going to win the American Century Championships this year, so it's easy for him to relax.
Yeah, and there are some guys who have, more prideful in their golf game, and even if they know they can't win, they don't want to go out and embarrass themselves.
Yeah, that was Matt Castle.
And some people don't
That
care.
was Matt Castle, who then did go out and embarrass himself. So don't be such a stick in the mud.
Right, and that was the thing that the funniest one, I think, of all time there was, what did we hear all the time about Todd Haley? Well, he played golf in college. Then he went to the American Century Championships, and he was awful. I mean, I could have kicked his ass, no sweat.
In college, I don't know that he was having the evenings in between rounds that he was having at the American Century Championships.
I'm going to guess he was. He was just younger and could handle
Well, that could be. That could be. That could be.
There's a golfer named Nicholas Kolsarts who's played on the Ryder Cup from Europe. A good player, just won a tournament the other day again. Clearly, this guy was a party boy because he won, and he just got married, and he said the same thing. He goes, somebody said something about him. Hey, you're really going to enjoy this one, We know you like to have a good time. And he goes, yeah, I don't think I could do that stuff that I did way back then. I mean, he just was honest about it.
Yeah,
and that's probably Todd Haley, probably in the same category.
Yeah, I would.
And his wife was right along for the show.
So on to back to Carter Stanley.
Yes.
They got to turn around and find another one, right? Another quarterback, right? That's the riddle. And Chris Kleiman's going to have to find another quarterback. I mean, Chris Kleiman and Les Miles have to find everything other than this recruiting class, right? Because that's the riddle that's out there. But with Missouri, Barry Odom had been there for a little bit. And I talked about that at the Tiger Club today that, I actually had a lot of Tiger fans that were upset when I'm like, listen, I think you're kind of expecting a little much from Kelly Bryant. I mean, I've seen him play against Syracuse a number of times and seen him play some other ACC games, and he's just not that good. He's not horrible.
Right. He has just an incredible supporting cast that, and he was beaten out by a quarterback who this year has not been that great. I mean, he was fantastic last year, but, I mean, he was supposed to be the greatest quarterback in the history of quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, and this year it was okay. He's fine, but so, yeah, and there's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure on Kelly Bryant. He was expected to be somewhat of a savior. Missouri's had a lot of good quarterback play in their time, and he was taken over from an NFL quarterback, and I think the expectation was he was going to be Clemson Kelly Bryant. Well, there's not 20 pros around him.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, Clemson Kelly Bryant wasn't that good
right.
either.
But they still were productive because they had so many weapons.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you get the kind of receivers they were cranking out down there. I mean, they're going to be high school open a lot.
Yeah, I think that's Barry Odom number one has got to beat Georgia and Florida. He's got to play Georgia and Florida next. He's got to win. To know his job is safe, he's got to win 2 of his last 4 games. After that, he's got Arkansas and Tennessee. Tennessee's an ascending team. Arkansas is spinning its wheels. I don't know what's going on.
Do you get the feeling that that's really true? That
you think 5-7 and losing your last 6 games, he's safe?
No, I think but I think 6-6. I don't see them canning him. Do you?
I see a lot of people calling for it.
Oh yeah, I do too.
And I see. If I were the Athletic, let me put it to you this way: at 6-6, do you see light at the end of the tunnel with Barry Odom?
I would say this season would be considered. I think it already is a bit of a disappointment. I think when you looked at the schedule before the season, you were thinking 7, 8, no, real possible. 7-1, okay, that you're going to have a slip up. To be 5-3 right now is not good. Not good. So yes, I think every time he appears to be safe.
Right, but
they play him. He plays himself back onto at least the warm seat, and then every time he gets there, he does something really good.
Well, let me point out that they got listed early as a 6.5 was the over/under, And all the talk was that they will probably cover that number before they lose a game.
Right.
Right? Or at least they'll get to it at 7-1. And here he sits at 5-3, staring down the barrel of two of the big boys. Now, I said for a show of hands today at the Tiger Club, I said, who thinks they're going to win against Florida or Georgia? 3 people put up their hands, and there was tens of thousands of people there to hear me speak.
But they always have a good crowd, so
They
we're
do always
not
have a good
talking
crowd.
like there were 15 people there.
No, but three people put their hand up and said, I think we beat Florida. Right? So they've got in their head, because they beat Florida last year.
Right,
They're
they've
gonna
had a
beat
good
Florida this
history
year.
against Florida.
So they said, I think we're going to beat Florida. Listen, if they lose the next 2, he's got to win both just to get that. And not that everybody out there in Missouri land bet and they're going to want to fire the coach because their bet didn't come home. I'm just talking about what the realistic expectations were.
Sure.
And so
I think that was everybody thought that was a fantastic bet.
Yes, I did. And did I bet it, or did I back off and say there's something wrong with this? I'll have to look at my wagers here. But I do think 6-6 is going to be discussed. If it's lose Florida, lose Georgia, and it's win some sloppy, ugly game against Arkansas and lose to Tennessee, flip-flop it. Win some sloppy, ugly game against Arkansas and lose to Tennessee. I mean, where is the count? I wisely did not bet the over.
There
I
you
don't know
go.
why. I think it must have been some huge number I was going to have to lay, and I'm like, well, that's just too much. Injuries can happen, and that'll be a dumb play. But my point is, part of the success, part of the confidence that seemed to be there with Barry Odom was that they were going in the right direction.
Right.
4-8, 7-6, 8-5.
This will be a step back, but I don't know if if they lose out, okay, he might get. I think he could definitely get the gate, but I think at 6-6 he's safe. Now 6-6, go out and get slaughtered in a bowl game, maybe not good. But yes, I think it's a step back unless they beat Georgia. Because if they just win 3 out of 4, it's going to be about what the season they were expected to have. Then the bowl game becomes important, and the way the narrative of the season has gone. 9 wins is really a perception of being a whole lot better than 8. I'll say that.
You got to always look at the red shirt part of it. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at how many seniors. 4, 5.
And they have a couple seniors who are good players
6,
who got
7.
hurt, too. Garrett was one of their better players. He was a senior. He got hurt.
7, 8 guys that they're going to lose out of the starting lineup, so that's a decent group that comes back. A lot of what's coming back is on defense. That's their better side of the ball. So offensively, you don't expect a whole lot to come around.
Their offense has just been been embarrassing the last 2 weeks. I mean, they haven't even come close to reaching 300 yards in either game against. I mean, Kentucky's defense is okay, but Vanderbilt, my God. And I don't know do you think he was that Kelly Bryant was hurt, or did he just get pulled? I mean, Odom said he had a hamstring. I don't know.
I think the hamstring may have come from being bad.
You could see him pull up on one play. He pulled up and kind of grabbed the leg.
So you think he was hurt?
I think he was hurt.
Okay. All right. But he wasn't playing well as of then.
Right.
Then you could say, then maybe they want to say, well, he wasn't playing well because he was hurt. But
it was well timed.
He wasn't very good the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a receiver drops a long pass. How many times did they stay on the ground?
You will hear the World Series tonight here on Sports
Yes.
Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk about that with Danny when we come back. Danny Clinkscale, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing, integrity matters. We're at CBD American Shaman, where you can save 30% on anything in the store at any store. We're at 119th and Black Bob on the southwest corner. We'd love to see you stop on by and say hello for the highest quality full-spectrum cannabidiol on the market. It is right here at CBD American Shaman. 30% off at every store. You can take advantage of it right now at CBD American Shaman.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker of Easton Roofing. And Joe, oftentimes people will wait to replace their roof until there is a weather event. What should they know about that?
Well, Danny, the important thing to remember is if you're going to turn in a claim to your insurance company, you want to make sure that you actually have damage on your home. If you turn in a claim to your insurance company and they send an insurance adjuster out, it's going to be a claim whether they give you $1 or $10,000. So it's important to make sure that you actually have damage on your home before you turn that claim in. And all you have to do is give us a call. We'll come out, take a look, and make sure there's real damage, and we'll tell you if there's not. Maybe it's just a small repair and it's not worth a claim. So it's always smart to get somebody you trust to make sure there's damage before you turn in a claim.
Quality advice and guidance from Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Danny Clinkscale is brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, the folks that I had on my roof to do some repairs. They're happy to do repairs. A lot of other companies don't want to mess with it. They're happy to come up and take a look at your roof, do any repairs that you need. Project manager on every site. 4 straight years voted Best of Houses, Angie's List Super Service Award winner and proud sponsor of Danny Clinkscale and DannyClinkscale.com. As we broadcast live at CBD American Shaman. We're here on the southwest corner of 119th and Black Bob, but you can save 30% on any one of the products. So if you're dealing with pain, inflammation, anxiety, depression, PTSD, nausea, insomnia, a lot of their clients have had great success with CBD American Shaman, the highest quality, full-spectrum cannabidiol on the market. Get it right now for 30% off at any CBD American Shaman. Danny, first of all, the Chiefs have made a move. Matt Derrick putting out there. Jack Fox is back.
The punter.
What does the Fox say? He says,
Fox
give me the
says,
ball so I can
says
punt
I'm
it.
glad to get some practice squad money.
Yeah.
Which isn't terrible, actually.
What is it now? 70, 80,000? 70, 80 bucks.
It's
$80.
Yeah, I think if you're on it for the whole season, you can make that. Yeah.
Okay. He was in camp with the Chiefs. Yeah. He was the punter that was there. I thought he looked pretty good. I actually thought there might be some news there. So whether or not Dustin Colquitt's dinged up,
a little tweak or something
like that. Know. So they're covering themselves. Cut a wide receiver of some sort. Danny
Cody
says.
Thompson.
Cody Thompson.
Yep,
is out. Okay.
Yep.
I think that would constitute a wide receiver of some sort.
Yeah, it would.
I think that's where
Name
that
Cody.
Is. Yeah. You excited for the series to get over and for the Royals to get started with the Mike Matheny era?
You think it's going to happen?
I do.
You think there's enough positive stories now coming out?
The people that I see out there riding it don't get it wrong usually. So yeah. I think the Royals are just adhering to the no moves during the World Series. And the day after, whenever it's over, so tomorrow, if it ends tonight, next day.
Yeah, another positive story from Matt Holliday today. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of different things to talk about. We'll talk about them as we roll along.
Do you like the idea, yes or no?
He was a successful manager. You know, do I know the intricacies? It could be one star player who couldn't stand him, is what it kind of seems like to me. And so, yeah, I think it's a good move. Yeah,
okay.
I do.
All
Solid move.
See how it plays out. DannyClinkscale.com.
Yes, indeed.
Podcast, writing, movie reviews. Loves some zombie movies.
Yeah, one tomorrow. We'll do that. Adam Teicher Friday in the profile.
Very nice. We're at CBD American Shaman. 119th and Black Bob here on the southwest corner. 30% off.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.